Hi, I'm Sona Pradeep, working as a social development sector professional, and I've been into project management field since last 16 plus years. So in varied capacities and in varied sectors, working with Government of India on a public-private partnership basis, as well as with industries. And now I'm working with a multilateral organization, which is a UN agency, United Nations agency. So here I am to present about my PMP journey, especially the journey that I took along with Big Bang Training Agency. So it has been a very fruitful journey ever since I associated with Big Bang. So to take you through this journey, I cleared PMP certification last year, almost a year back, in July 2021. So I was quite fortunate to come across, Big Bang, which provided the training for PMP. And I must say that the reason why I took PMP, although being an actual practitioner of project management myself in my previous roles, is to the fact that nowadays, when you see that, although you have been practicing various concepts and theories of project management in your work life, but there has also been instances where when you make a career shift, there is always this question of whether, it's an added advantage if you are a PMP certified. So I found that, being a mid-career professional and dealing with a lot of projects, whether it be government or private sector, there are invariably, project management that aspects that come across during your work performance. So why not, actually take up a course and take up a course, not just a course, but it's a world-renowned certificate, which everyone values. So doing this course definitely is going to help boost my career. That was a, aim with which I started PMP. And I always felt that being a project management professional, it would be a very easy sort of an experience for me to take up this certification. But I must, admit that for all the PMP aspirants, if you are wanting to take a PMP certification, be very sure about what you are going into, and also definitely with a right amount of hard work and perseverance, you will be able to achieve the PMP certification finally. But it does take a lot of effort from your side, and definitely as a prerequisite to be able to take up the PMP exam, you need 35 training hours, which is being provided through various ATP providers, that is, acknowledged training providers by PMI, Project Management Institute of USA. So so I went through PMP. So my journey started. It's actually a journey. Why I'm saying is that it was a long, but a very satisfying and rewarding experience for me. I started when a bit before 2021, when it was the older version of the PMP exam, which was going on. So what happened in 2021 is that there was an equal weightage of both the traditional PMP methodologies as well as agile methodologies. So I had referred during my learning process the PMBOK one, and that was with a different trainer altogether. But somehow I lacked the confidence of, taking the test, because agile was a newer, methodology, which was having more weightage now in the new PMP exam course curriculum. So I thought that I need a refresher course, which would give that kind of a confidence to be able to take the test with the right amount of, not just confidence, but also the conceptual clarity. So before coming to Big Bang, I had already referred PMBOK, that is Project Management Body of Knowledge. In short, it is called as PMBOK. So the earlier edition, now I believe there is a 7th edition, which is the newer updated version. But until last year, it was PMBOK 6. So I had thoroughly gone through at least once the PMBOK before taking this, training from Big Bang. So I chanced upon Big Bang in the month of March end or April 2021, and through one of the social media platforms. And I found that, and it was a demo session initially. And so I thought that let me, because I'm doing my brushing up of PMP through myself. So I needed some expert guidance in this regard. So I did go through that demo session, and I found that it was more of an interactive way the trainer was conducting the session. And it was not just a one-way communication that was happening. So that itself was quite a positive thing for me to start with. And then, as anybody else, like whenever you are putting your time and money into a training course, so you would have certain amount of apprehensions and a good amount of, questions that you want to be addressed to. So that is when, the sales team or the marketing team of Big Bang did really help me. And they also put me across to the MD of Big Bang, Mr. Abhijit Pradhan. And I was quite happy with and satisfied that, firstly, he gave that much amount of time to answer those questions, which really helped me to see things in a different way, not just about taking this training from Big Bang, but also overall guidance about, PMP on a long run, how to go about addressing that and how it is going to help one in a professional career. So, so there was no, after this conversation, there was no doubt in my mind that I should be taking up this course. And, one thing, there are at least more than one thing, I can quote about what impressed me from the training that I took from Big Bang, is that as a working professional, I got the liberty of doing 4 days of training, which was over the weekend. So it was a continuous full day training that I took, although I didn't have the need to complete the 35 hours of training because I had already enrolled myself to for the PMP exam. But in case if you're a fresher and you are taking the training for the first time, then this is also a requirement that you complete 35 hours of training to be able to be eligible to apply for the PMP exam. And in this effort also, the Big Bang would, or any other training provider will help you in doing the application process and submitting it in the right way. And the very first instance that I remember and recollect now of the Big Bang training is that it definitely was useful to have a weekend session, and that was shorter one because I completed the training in just about 2 weeks time, that is over 2 weekends. And it was a full day session. Initially I thought it would be like a classroom setup, but the trainer, Ms. Tasneem, she was excellent at not just being able to connect us with the topics of PMP, but also it was kind of an experiential learning process through case studies. So and another thing which I found it useful, since I can now compare between two training providers, how the content is being taught. So it was a smaller batch of about approximately 20 of us who were into this course, and that was quite a healthy group to be in. A smaller group is always useful when it comes to having group discussions, and there were some real life case studies or case based exercises also put across, so that it's not a monotonous one way dialogue between the instructor and the trainee. So I found that to be very useful in understanding the concepts. Besides that, of course, with Big Bang, you also get one is a student kit, which PMI gives directly. It's a digital learning bank, which PMI gives to all the enrolled students under any ATP provider. So that I got access to. And apart from that, there were various simulation test papers also provided by Big Bang. So I felt that, in the process of once this training is over, so there are 2 or 3 things which the instructor from Big Bang was, very clear in conveying it to all of us who were attempting for PMP, is that you should be, attempting PMP as a project in itself. So whenever, like any other project, it has a start date and an end date. So, you just look at PMP like a project where you have now entered it through a training process. You are going to enroll for the exam and then do a thorough preparation of all the concepts, and to gain that amount of confidence to be able to take the PMP exam on a real-time basis, do as many simulation tests as possible. And once you start getting 80% marks in your simulation test papers, then that is a gateway for you to decide that, yes, now I'm ready for taking the real test. So I think all these things did help me to really understand. And also I didn't want to, delay it further. So I actually, after a month-long study from April to May, I scheduled my PMP exam in the month of July. So it was basically 3 months gap between the training and the exam, the real test that it took. So in between, I gave a lot of mock tests, and I made it a point to review the questions where I went wrong, so that it is very clear to me that, where was I wrong. Usually what happens is that it's an objective type questions. So you will have 4 objective options to choose from. But when the concepts are not clear, definitely you know that there is a theory of elimination. You know that one of the option is definitely not right, or 2 of the options are definitely not right. But what about the other 2 where you're confused? So that is where, when you have that concept clarity, you will relate to it that as a project management professional, and as per PMI, this is the ideal situation. I mean, this is how the project manager ideally should be behaving. So these questions, although if you look at it, 4 hours, in 4 hours, you have to attempt 180 questions. So that means roughly it is about less than 1.5 minutes that you get to attempt per question. And so the speed at which you read the questions, sometimes it is like, the questions are case-based. So it would be quite lengthy. So you will have to, during your mock test, you will get an idea about what to expect during the actual PMP test, because these mock tests somewhere does bring out, some sort of similar questions, so that you get yourself prepared with it well in advance. So my take on, from my experience of taking the real test is, there are, many ways in which you can achieve success. But for me, it was like, the 3 P's of success, which I would like to say is, first, be prepared for the exam, well prepared, read thoroughly the PMBOK, with the latest edition of PMBOK, student kit, whatever you get from the PMI, as well as from the training provider. Here in my case, I also got access to some video tutorials from the trainer itself of the technical aspects of PMP, not just the agile concepts, but the traditional methodology also. So be sure about both, because there is an equal weightage to both these concepts. And also, whenever you are really attempting any question, be clear that what topic this question is relating to. Then you will eventually know that as a project manager, this is how I should be behaving or acting upon. So then I don't think so. Once that is clear, then definitely out of the 2 that you were confused earlier, you would know that this is the right option, which is the right one. And you would know that what you have attempted is right. Yeah. So Out of the 3 P's that I mentioned, one is be prepared for your exam well in advance. Secondly, be perseverant towards your goal. So like I said, treat PMP as a project. You have to have an end date in mind and work towards it. Once you schedule your exam, work backwards. And please remember, as per what I have experienced, it requires at least regular practice of 1 to 2 hours every day, reading, maybe, just reading out the concepts or listening to videos, podcasts, whatever. But be clear about each and every concept. That is very important. And then I think thirdly, the third P is patience. Have a lot of patience. Be clear that PMP is not going to be easy. It requires a lot of thorough practice and only then attempt. So have the patience before the exam, while you're doing the exam, because 4 hours is not an easy task for anyone to have the level of confidence and have the level of concentration to bear with. So be patient enough throughout this journey.